Hi, so I was asked to talk a little bit about my experience studying abroad. I was a student abroad through UCD's Venga Vale program this past June 2016, and I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about what it was like studying abroad and what I thought of the country and sort of what I got from it. Um, and so I guess I'll just do that. But I got to study at the University of Valladolid for a few weeks in June um, through Venga Vale and what that meant was I attended classes at the University of Valladolid, but then I also lived with a host mom, a Spanish host mom, and then I had the opportunity through the program's excursions and the weekend trips to go to go. I had the chance to go to all these different cities in the country of Spain and see these really interesting and cool places that I never really thought I would be able to see. But most importantly, what I got out of the program was that as a student abroad, you learn that you are a lot more capable of stuff than you think you are. What it was like for me to be a student abroad was realizing, especially once I got back, that you're always learning something. Whether you're actively learning, in your university classes through, the language where you're learning sentence structure and vocabulary and grammar, or, in the culture classes where you're learning about Spanish history or whatever. That's where you're actively learning. But when you're not in those classes or you're not doing homework, you're also passively learning. When I wasn't in my classes, I was, when I left university, I'd be walking home and then I would have to figure out how to navigate through this Spanish city that was set up very different than what I was used to in the States. And when I would go to meet my friend James to study at this little coffee shop in the Plaza Mayor in downtown Valladolid, I was, still passively learning Spanish through, having to talk to people to ask directions, ask what time it was, ordering food, interpreting and translating street signs and stuff like that. You're always passively learning, and you're always getting better at the language so long as you use it while you're there. And you also get better at speaking the language just by being in a situation where everyone around you speaks it. You get better at understanding it. You get better at working your way around, words that you don't know. And I had a lot of that at my host mom's house too, because she didn't speak any English. So where my Spanish failed, there was no English that she was capable of throwing in to fill in the gaps. It was my Spanish failed here. We had to figure out a way around it. And so I guess the main thing that for me as a student studying abroad that I learned is that you really are capable of a lot more than what you think you are. And you learn in ways that you don't realize you're capable of learning in. And you get a lot of confidence to do stuff that you never thought you'd do. Towards the end of the program, I had someone with me who didn't speak any Spanish, and we went into a little pharmacy, and I had to be the middleman between this person that was with me and the person on the other side of the counter, explaining what was wrong with her, what she needed medical attention for, and then I had to, go back and forth between the two people. And so I started to realize that even with 2 semesters of Spanish and a little study abroad trip, I was capable of actually handling a very important situation in a different language. The country is very beautiful too. I won't lie, we went there in the month of June when I think Spain officially converts into an oven. It was extremely hot there. But no matter what, I still got to see some amazing places. My favorite place that we went to was Segovia. And it was this little city that has a Roman aqueduct down the street from a, several 100-year-old cathedral that is just breathtaking. And then down the street from that is the castle that Ferdinand and Isabel, who are the people that financed Christopher Columbus's trek to America, that's where that was where they lived. That was Ferdinand and Isabel's castle just down the street from this, several hundred-year-old cathedral, which is not that far from a 2,000-year-old Roman aqueduct. I mean, so you get to go to these places that have this interesting history that we don't really see here in America, and that's not to say that our history isn't interesting, but you get a very good perspective of how much, how much else is out there outside of America. And you also learn a lot about yourself of, like what part of you is American. I mean, I learned a lot about, just how much my personality is American, how much of my personality has been cultivated because I grew up, around American culture and, American society. And, I got to see, through living with a Spanish woman and interacting with Spaniards on a daily basis, how that culture and that society cultivates, different personalities. And so it's just a really great experience. I mean, I know I've kind of rambled a little bit, but I mean, I'm gonna, just flat out say that if you want to speak Spanish, if this is something that you're interested in and you want to really improve it or at least, understand, the culture a little bit more, do it. I mean, sign up for this program. It's pretty awesome. Venga, Vale was pretty amazing. But, I mean, and even if it's not Spanish, even if you're just interested in studying abroad, I would recommend it to anyone. I'm 28, but I feel like I grew so much as a person in that 1 month there than I had the previous 28 years I've been alive. And so that was, I mean, I can't recommend it enough. My only complaint about the Venga, Vale program specifically is that I don't think I can do it again now that I've done it once. So, that's pretty sad that I can only go through the program once. But besides that, I would recommend it to anyone. And I would also recommend, doing a study abroad, no matter what the language is, to anyone, because you learn so much about the language and you learn so much about the culture. But now that I'm done rambling and repeating myself incessantly, I will say goodbye and thank you all for watching and listening.